Chris here with one of two of the new Xiaomi mobile phones that are powered by Snapdragon 821s recently just released. This is the Mi Note 2. Now this one has the curved display, 5.7 inches. I know there's a lot of interest in the Mi Mix. I will have that one hopefully by the end of this week. It has just been sent out to me. So this one I picked up here from AliExpress, a seller called Goldway Hong Kong. Very good service from them. They just sent this out super quick to me. And it should all be sealed and packed up quite nicely, which is what they did with their other mobiles they sent me. So I'm actually a little bit more excited about this particular mobile than the Mi Mix. I know there's a lot of interest and a lot of hype behind the Mi Mix because it has an almost bezel-less display on there. This one to me I think looks a little bit better because I quite like good camera performance, and hopefully with the 22.5 megapixel camera, this is going to be a bit better there. So well packaged up. Giving me a adapter there, so that's US 2-prong. Now just to mention, I got this one with DHL shipping. Now when DHL comes here, I've always got to pay taxes on that. 100% always taxes. But if you use the free post or the seller's shipping method, I think it's listed as, then you don't get those nasty taxes. I've got to pay 21% and then 15 euros on top. So it works out to be pretty expensive. Alright, so it's good to see that it is fully sealed there. So it's got the factory seal still on them. I asked them not to open it, don't install Play Store. So very plain looking box, looks just like the Mi 5S box. You see on the side there, so Note 2. And there are some specs along the back. I'm just covering up the EI numbers because people steal those. So there we have the specs. Just to quickly run through them, we have a 5.7 inch 1080p OLED screen, and we have a 22.5 megapixel camera, a front 8 megapixel camera which actually has autofocus, so it'll be interesting to see how that performs. A very large 4070 milliamp hour battery, Snapdragon 821 chipset, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and this particular model has 64 gigabytes of internal storage. So let's get this open. Try not to cut myself. This knife is razor sharp. Okay, so the black version, it's good to have a change from having white Xiaomi mobiles for so long. Just put that there for a second. Have a look at what is included. So they have included a clear case, just like the Mi 5S Plus that I got also had a clear case. It's a nice little addition in there. And Note 2, that would be probably all in Chinese. Yes, it is. And there's the SIM tool, SIM tray tool. A Type-C to USB cable, and then the fast charger. Now this one is rated all the way up to 12 volts, 1.5 amps. So it does support the phone Qualcomm's Quick Charge 3.02. Just get this out of the way. So let's have a look at the mobile now. Looks very, very, very similar to my Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. Very similar there, actually. Just get them side by side for a second. Look at that. So where did they copy their styling from? I wonder. Or you could say the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 as well. Rest in peace. So I get the cover off here. And is it a nice curved edges? I do like the feel of this. Get this off the back too. And there's that camera there, which is a Sony sensor. We have dual LED flashes there, that's dual tone. And there's a Type-C port on the bottom, antenna lines. There'll be a microphone in here, and one of these will be a loudspeaker. It's not actually dual loudspeakers. The volume up and down and power buttons, those are definitely made out of metal. And it feels quite solid, doesn't feel bad. So we've got an IR transmitter at the top, secondary microphone, 3.5mm headphone jack. There's the SIM tray tool, so that has support for 2 nano SIMs. Unfortunately, still no micro SD card support, which I find is a big flaw there. And on the front, so we've got menu keys. This is the fingerprint reader there, of course. That front 8 megapixel autofocus camera, and then the earpiece. So get it powered on. Build of it feels actually really quite good. Very good quality to it. So while that is just powering up, I'm just going to have a look now at the thickness of it and the weight. Alright, so it comes in at 7.7 millimeters there. There is no real thick point. And just get my trusty scales. Okay, so it weighs 165 grams. That's not too bad. Alright, so I'll just go through this setup here very quickly. Because this is the first released one, this isn't the global version, so it's only got Chinese and English here. I'll do that later. Add my network, terms and conditions. I see they've gone with a black theme here, trying to make this look like it's bezel-less. No. So that's interesting because the other devices, example, the Mi 5S, you just wake that straight away. So you just tap that and wake it up, or the Redmi Note 4. So I don't know why they've decided to actually set it up like that. It must be because they're using different hardware there for the front fingerprint reader. Anyway, let's have a look at the bezels. If I bring up the browser, that's definitely a good way to have a look at them. So not too bad because it is black here. We're not seeing that ugly border we normally get with the Xiaomi mobiles. And there's a little bit of a curve there with the screen. So you can see that. Slight curve. And so far, yeah, I'm impressed with the build quality. Doesn't seem to be too bad at all. I'm just going to have a look now and see what version of MIUI it is using. So running Android, where are we? Okay, so you can see there, 4 gigabytes RAM. First I go through the available storage there, 55.3 gigabytes. And Android 6.0.1 is the version that it ships with at the moment. Still no Android 7. MIUI 8 stable, 808. Now, as mentioned, it's the Chinese and English ROM in the start there, so you're going to get a lot of this bloatware and all these junky kind of applications that mean nothing to anyone outside of China. Luckily, most of these can be removed, but there are a few that you're stuck with. And later on, I have to go and install manually Google Play Services, Google Play Store, and then what I normally do is just go on and get the Google keyboard as well, because the stock keyboard they include does have Chinese characters in it, and it's a little bit annoying. And you're also going to get some alerts and things that pop up like that, you can see, with more Chinese characters and text on there. Now, if you don't want that, don't jump the gun and get it straight away like I have. Wait for the global version, which will also have band 20 4G, for example, too. So just looking at the screen in a little more detail here, you can see some color shifting on the side here. Even though the viewing angles are really good, you can see how it looks brighter along the edge, and I can confirm that in person it looks exactly what is being picked up on the camera at the moment. And I noticed as well that the screen isn't as sharp as, say, the Quad HD screens, of course, because it's got a lower resolution, it's only 1080p. But even so, normally I find the 1080p screens on a 5.5 inch or 5 inch mobile to be generally sharp, but this only having 1080p at 5.7 inches is starting to look almost, I wouldn't say blurry, it's just not as sharp as my Samsung S6 Edge Plus with its Quad HD screen. And a very quick look at the dual nano SIM tray. Unfortunately, I can't put my 128GB Samsung micro SD card in there, which is a real shame and a deal breaker for some people that have very large music collections. That 64GB isn't enough, then you're going to have to buy the 128GB version, of course. Alright, so let's have a quick listen to the loudspeaker and see how it sounds. Okay, not bad. There's a tiny hint of bass in there. I've heard a lot better, but I've also heard a lot worse. To me, that doesn't sound like a bad loudspeaker. Okay, so let's have a closer look at the camera. I went outside and I took a few photos and recorded some video on it. So I'll show you those samples in just a second. But first, I'll just go through the modes we have. So we've got the typical kind of things you see here now with MIUI 8, group shot there, time shift, various different modes here. And here's the settings. So there's a few things that can be tweaked in there, or enhance low light photos automatically. And shifting over into the video mode, we don't really get a lot of options here. So we've got slow motion, which I think only works in 720p, time lapse, and then the settings here, video quality can be set all the way up to 4K. Here's a sample taken from the rear 22.5 megapixel camera that does have image stabilization, electronic image stabilization that is, not optical. So have a look and see if I just quickly walk along here, how stable that's going to be. I'm trying to hold it as steady as possible with two hands. And as far as I can tell, that is doing something at least. So have a look at now the autofocus. See whether it doesn't seem to actually want to focus on close up here. Oh, there we go. I think that is focused now. So if I'll focus on one of these cactuses, and then on the background, so it does have continual autofocus. And that image quality, at least the stabilization, seems to be working alright from what I can tell on the screen. So here's a video sample taken on the front facing camera here. Now it does have an autofocus camera, 8 megapixels. Can't see if it is focusing or not, but maybe it's keeping lock on my face here. Just try and get that to lock onto my hand. I can't really tell. If it's going to be working well, then that's an added bonus. So just to quickly point out with the camera that the dual LED flashes there, they're sitting behind the rear glass on here. And you'll see that the camera does protrude slightly, but only about a millimeter there. So that probably will actually be susceptible to scratches. We'll have to be careful with that. Quick comparison here, the size-wise. So we've got a 5.5 inch Lee Echo Lee Pro 3. That's a Snapdragon 821 mobile that I recently reviewed. Then we have the Mi Note 2 there with 5.7 inches, the 5.1 inch Mi 5S, and then the 5.7 inch Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus, which looks very, very similar, as mentioned, to the Mi Note 2. So that's the unboxing there. My first impressions, the build quality seems a lot better, definitely than the Mi 5S Plus, which I was really disappointed in. That felt like a mid-ranged, more of a budget mobile to me. This doesn't. This has more of a premium feel with the curved display, the curved edges. Now, being all glass, it's going to be slippery when your hands are cold and dry. That's going to happen. But you get that on other mobiles with the same kind of build, just like the Samsung Galaxy S7 I have here. Now, the build quality of it, as mentioned, is good, but it still doesn't feel quite as good as my Samsung does here. But, you know, that's waterproof and slightly more premium. And the screen on it is only 1080p stretched across 5.7 inches, making it not the sharpest display, especially for a flagship Snapdragon 821 mobile on there. And the other slight little niggle I have there is it doesn't wake up straight away with the fingerprint reader. So you first must wake the mobile phone, then unlocks, but it does unlock reasonably quick, and it's working for me 10 out of 10 times so far. So I'm happy with that. Now we'll be back with a full review. I'll probably do a gaming review as well, and a camera comparison against other competing flagship devices. Also wanted to mention that if you'd like to win one of these, not this particular one, but a brand new one, I have a giveaway over at techtablets.com, so check that out, get your entries in, and best of luck in winning one of these. So I hope to see you back with the full review coming up in about a week or so.